It seems like I'm live. Yay. All right, I'm back. Technical issues solved. All right, okay. So, hello, guys. How are you? How's everything? Fabi here from Fabi English. Okay, just waiting for people to come in. And yeah, so when you're ready, please tell me where you are speaking from. Okay, we had someone from Australia, Brisbane, Australia. Just let me know where you're speaking from. All right, okay. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Fabi. I'm an English teacher and I teach English here in Brisbane, Australia. But what I do is I help people get the score they need on the IELTS test and do the test only once. You don't have to do the IELTS test multiple times, okay, guys? So you can achieve your goals, okay, by doing it only once. All right. And that's what we talk about in this channel here and everything. All right, cool. So now, today, okay, we will be talking a little bit about vocabulary. Okay, so we'll be talking about vocabulary today. And yeah, please let me know where you're speaking from. I always like to know where you're speaking from in the world, because we have people from all over the world here. And if you have any questions, just pop the questions in there. And if I don't get to your questions straight away, I'll get to your questions at the end. Sometimes I miss some of the questions. All right, guys. So sometimes I miss some of the questions because sometimes there's lots of comments and lots of things going on here. All right. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about vocabulary today. Okay. So when it comes to vocabulary for the IELTS test, it's extremely important, okay, especially if we're thinking about the writing part and the speaking part of the IELTS test. All right. So if you want a high score, you will have to have a higher vocabulary, okay? And basically having a bit of more academic vocabulary will definitely help you. All right. So that will be the biggest part and the biggest importance of vocabulary in the IELTS test. However, vocabulary will also help you heaps in the reading part, okay? Because if you have been studying for the IELTS test, how many times did you have to read one of those reading texts, okay, for the IELTS reading part and you didn't understand, okay, some of the words in there, all right? Okay, so if you felt that way, you can say me. Just put your hands up, all right? Because yeah. So when it comes to vocabulary, important thing for it, okay, for you to get a good score would be learn vocabulary to improve your writing and your speaking, and that will also help you with your reading. Okay, so that's why it's so important to take the time and go ahead and improve your vocabulary. All right. Okay. And the reason I decided to talk about vocabulary today specifically is because yesterday I was helping a student with her writing. Okay. And the topic of the writing was education. Right. And I think the question we talked about was it was an essay, task two. So writing task two, academic, no, general. I think it was general. I think it was general. Yeah. So task two, and the question was, do you think it's a good idea for teenagers, right, or young adults to take a year off after they finish school before they start university or college? So that was the question, and she did quite well. All right, so she had a question, then she wrote her essay, and it was pretty good. She needs a 7. And as I was reading, I was reading it. I was like, oh my God. So when I started reading her introduction, I thought of a very good word she could use, but she didn't use it. And then as I read, I think her third paragraph, she was explaining something. And I looked, I was like, oh my God, she didn't use this word. Okay, so my job when I'm helping people with the writing is also to do that, to read something for my students, to give feedback, right? So I'm reading and I'm thinking, oh, they could be using this word. Oh, they could be using that word. Okay, so that's something I do all the time. And this will help you, okay, guys? And that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? So, all these words that will help you improve your score. So, in her case specifically, because it was about education, and the word that I thought of was actually a gap year. I don't know if you're familiar with gap year, the expression gap year. So gap year is basically the people, well, describes, that time where people decide to take a break before they go to university. They take a gap year. And that's exactly what she was writing about. But she didn't say that word. I was like, this could be a 7. Okay. And another one was that she was also describing something like people missing their families, living in a different country. And I was like, homesick, being homesick, because that's the word. Okay. So she was using lots of words to explain something where she could have used just one word. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. Having those good words also. Okay. And because we were talking about, sorry, because we're talking about education. Okay. So the topic today will be education. All right. Okay. So let me just put the topic here for you. Education. So we're going to talk about education today. All right. So, and guys, we are live. Oh, I'm not sure you can see very well. It's all right. Okay. So we are also live on YouTube. All right. And I think that if you go to YouTube and watch me there, it's going to be a little bit easier to see everything. Okay. So if you want to head there, Fab English on YouTube. All right. Okay. So today we're going to talk a little bit about education. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about vocabulary in the IELTS test, right? So vocabulary in the IELTS test. People love lists, okay? So they go online and they go to Google and they go and they type in vocabulary list for the IELTS test, and then they try to learn that list, okay? If you have been following me for a while, if you've been listening to what I say, I hate those lists because those lists is just a bunch of words, okay? And then you might try to memorize them, okay, but you don't really learn them. Okay, so with my students we do something a little bit different. I have a different strategy with them, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. All right, so to me you should get rid of those lists, okay, and the only list you can have is the one you created yourself. Okay, so you go ahead and you create your own list. All right. Okay. So that's what I think everyone should be doing. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. Okay. So instead of going to Google and asking Google, the most common words on the IELTS test. If I want to get a 7, which words I should know, okay? Instead of going to Google to get that information, you should go to the best place to get vocabulary for the IELTS test, which is the IELTS test. Okay, guys. So if you want to get, okay, vocabulary for the IELTS test, go to the IELTS test. And where is the place where you can get the most amount of vocabulary? Reading. Okay. So when I'm working with my students, okay, so they can get an amazing score on the IELTS test. Okay. Every time we finish the reading, we go over the reading and we try to get new words from the reading. Okay. So I'm going to help you today. Okay. So we can do that together. Actually, I'm going to do the job for you. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I do things, and then you can do it by yourselves later. All right. Okay. So I have here, where is it? It's here. Okay. Yeah, right here. I'm just going to put it somewhere else. Lovely. Okay. So I have here a reading text that I shared with some students recently. It's from the collection of books, the Cambridge IELTS. Okay, I think this is book 12. Yeah, I think it's book 12, academic general. I can't remember now. Okay, and the topic is education, like I mentioned before to you. Okay, so we're going to talk about education. So the topic is education. And okay, guys, and just reminding you, if you have any questions, feel free to pop the questions. Okay, doesn't matter if you're watching on YouTube or Instagram. Okay, you can pop questions in. If I don't see your question right now, I'll get to it at the end. All right, cool. So, so as I was saying, yeah, so one topic that is quite common is education. And I've been finding, especially when it comes to part 3 of the reading, education is becoming even more common. Okay. And not only education, the topic of language acquisition, learning a new language is becoming even more popular. Okay, guys. So I see this many, many times. And the text I got for us today to work with is talking about bilingualism. So being able to speak two different languages. All right. So the first word I'd like to share with you. Okay. So, yeah. So, sorry, before I tell you about the word I'm going to share. So, what happened here? So, I had this text, okay? So, this test, this reading test, and then my students did the test, okay? They did the test in 1 hour, they checked their answers, they revised the text, and then they took the time to get some words that they thought were good words, new words for them, okay? And then they did some research on the words, and then they try to use them in the future, okay? So when we're talking about doing the research on the word in the words, guys, I'm telling you, please do not use translators. Stick to Cambridge Dictionary, okay? Just stick to Cambridge Dictionary. All right, guys? So that's the best thing you can do, okay? Find a new word, Cambridge Dictionary. All right? Okay? So let's get to that now. So the first one I would like to talk to you about is the word bilingual. Okay. So, do you know the meaning of the word bilingual? If you know the meaning, you can type it in the chat. What is the meaning of the word bilingual? Here. All right. Okay, bilingual. If you are bilingual, what can you do very well? You can speak two languages very, very well. If you speak Portuguese, Spanish, French, or Italian, you probably know what this means, okay? Because it's probably very similar to your own language, okay? So yeah, so you probably know the meaning, okay? But then being able to see this word in the reading and know exactly what it means would definitely help you get a higher score. Or just going ahead and if you get, let's say, speaking part 3, questions about learning languages, bilingual, you can use the word bilingual. I am sure if you can use the word bilingual properly, you probably get a good score. All right. Okay. And then not only bilingual. Okay. So when I'm working with my students, I like not only to work on the words itself. Okay. But also work on how can we use these words. Okay. Now I'm just going to write here something that you can use also with it. So, mhm. Okay. So one thing you can say instead also would be this one. You can talk about the benefits of being bilingual. Okay. So it's good to be bilingual. The good thing about being bilingual, or you can just go ahead and say benefits of being bilingual. Okay. So if you say this one, here, you can take some notes. Okay. So if you're able to not just use the word, okay, but use what we call a chunk, more than one word. Okay. So that will help you to use this vocabulary. Okay. So today we're talking about vocabulary. Okay. Especially education. All right. And then another word that I got from the text, okay, was bilingual, the benefits of being bilingual, all right, and another one was to activate, because activate. This one. Actually, this word appeared a lot in the text because they're talking about the benefits of being bilingual, okay, and how people use their first language or their second language, and they activate it. So it's even a better word that you can use, okay, guys? Just pop this in here for you. Okay, activate. All right. So activate's a very good word that you can use also. Okay, activate. That's another good one. Okay. And then I came across one that is what we call an idiom. Idiom. Okay. So, do you know what an idiom is? If you know what idioms are, you can pop it in the chat. Okay. So, idioms. So, idioms are those expressions in English, okay, that probably will only mean something if you say to someone who speaks English, because probably if you translate it into your own language, it doesn't mean anything. Okay. These expressions, these idioms, they tend to impress people who are listening to people whose first language is not English, okay? And they tend to impress examiners, and that's what we want, okay? Of course, I found that some people sometimes they overuse it, and then that becomes a bit of a problem because they're trying to impress so much. So if you are using idioms, okay, and they're coming to you naturally, all right, that could be a difference between maybe a 6.5 or a 7. All right. This could be like a big difference between a 6 and a 7, 6.5 and a 7. Okay. So idioms. And one idiom that I found in this text was on the tip of your tongue. I'm going to write this down for you 1 second. So let me get a piece of paper. So on the tip of your tongue. Let me write it for you. On the tip of your tongue. Okay. Let me show you. All right. There you go. So on the tip of your tongue. Oops. That's the one. It's on the tip of your tongue. Okay. So we're talking about second language. Okay. Learning a new language, right? So in the text, they were talking about when sometimes people they want to say, you know, when you want to say a word, but it's here, but you can't quite say it. It's on the tip of your tongue. Okay. So when you really want to say something, but you can't quite remember the word, that's it. So that's the expression you're going to use on the tip of your tongue. Okay. Yeah. So remember, just think about it. Okay. So you're improving your English and you're talking to someone in English, and then you just can't remember that word in English. But that also happens in our languages sometimes, right? Which word was it that I couldn't remember? Offended. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. And I just couldn't remember the word offended. It was a tip of my tongue, but I was like, I couldn't remember it. Okay. So that's another one. And this is what we call an idiom. All right. So being an idiom, if you say this in the right context, very naturally, what's going to happen? You're probably going to get a high score on the IELTS test. All right, guys. Okay. So let's recap. And guys, if you have any questions, pop the questions in. All right. So let's have a look. Let's do a little bit of a recap then. Let's try that. Okay. So let's go. So first one then here is already here. So we're going to have a look at on the tip of your tongue, which is an idiom. And it just means that you're thinking about something you want to say, but it's here, but not here. Like it's here. Okay, but you can remember it. You can remember it. Okay, so that was one for today. So where's the other one? Let me grab here. All right. Activate. Okay, so I thought that was a good word here. Even if you know this word, activate. Okay, how often do you use it? So in this case, we're talking about bilingualism. So like part of the brain, you activate a part of your brain. So this is a very good word you can use also. All right. Another one is, oh yeah. Okay, we talked about bilingualism. So being bilingual. Okay, being bilingual means speaking two languages. Okay. And then not only learning the word bilingual, okay, but also maybe thinking about using the word. All right. So we think about, oh, how can I use it? Good way. Benefits of being bilingual. Okay. So let me show you a little bit more. Here. Okay. So benefits of being bilingual. Okay, guys. So sorry. That's something that you can use too. All right. Okay. And the topic today was education. So vocabulary for education. Vocabulary for education. All right. Cool. So now I have some homework for you. Yeah. So, I like to give people homework. Okay. So, today we talked about the importance of vocabulary. Okay, guys. So, if you're learning vocabulary because you want to improve your writing or your speaking, go for it. And most importantly, you can also improve your reading skills. Okay, sometimes those reading texts they come with lots of words, okay, that are hard to understand. So when you're taking the time to improve your vocabulary for the IELTS test because you want to improve either your writing or your speaking, as a bonus you also improve your reading. Okay, and as I mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of those lists that you can find online. I am totally pro creating your own lists. And how do we do that? Just go over your reading texts. Okay. And that's exactly what I want you guys to do. Okay. What I'd like you to do is if you have been practicing for the IELTS test, all right, just go over your last reading test. Okay. The last one that you tried. Okay. Just go to that one, just grab that one and go over. Maybe you can start with the most difficult text, okay, which is usually the third one, okay? If especially if, no matter if you're doing general or academic, usually the last one, right? So you just go over that one and just find 5 words that are new to you. 5. Okay? And what do you do with these words? Write them down and then go over to Cambridge Dictionary, try to get the meaning. Okay? And my challenge for you is write the questions. Write the words here in the comments. Okay? Or maybe if you find a word you're not sure about, okay? Just try to just type the words here in the comments and then I'll try to help you too. All right? Okie dokie. Especially if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah. Okie dokie. All right. Okay. Any questions, guys, about vocabulary? Any questions? Any questions? The topic today is education. So, good vocabulary to help you. Okay. And again, guys, as you could see, I don't have a list for you. Okay. What I have are words from the real test. So, I grabbed the test, I looked at it, okay, and then I got some of the words that I think will help you. Either help you understand the reading better in the future, or that will help you express your ideas in the future also. Okay. And as you can see, basically we had 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. Only 4. That's it. Okay. Why 4? Let's say I give you 10. How many are you going to remember? 1 or 2, or maybe 4. So it's better to work with only few words, okay, guys? I don't think it's a good idea to have like 20 words per day, okay? I think you should be working with fewer words, just like we're doing right now, okay? Like I said before, your challenge now is to go to a text that you read before and try to get only 5. Maybe you will find 20 words you don't know in a text. Depending on the text, there's heaps of words you don't know, right? But you don't choose all of them. You choose 5 and that's it. Okay, that is it. Don't choose too many, okay? And of course, please no translators, all right? Because usually when we use translators, it's very quick. So with translators, we get the meaning quickly. Like, oh yeah, I get it now. But you are less likely to remember the word in the future, okay? So going ahead and using Cambridge Dictionary, amazing. To get the meaning of new words. Okay, guys, that's what I think everyone should be doing. Okay, and my students have been doing it forever, and it has helped them heaps. Okay, any questions, guys? Any more questions? Okay, let me just revise what you think about questions. I'm going to revise again. So the topic today was education. All right, education. And more specifically, we talked about being bilingual. And we can even go ahead and being bilingual. Okay. You can be bilingual. But then if you're talking about the topic itself, bilingualism. Let me write it for you here. Bilingualism. Okay. So that's what we're talking about today. And a good way to use these words, okay, especially if you're going to use it in your writing or maybe in your speaking, we could talk about the benefits of being bilingual. Okay. So that's a good thing we can talk about. And one word that I felt also from the text that was quite interesting. Okay. Instead of saying use a language, maybe because they're talking about the brain, they use the word activate. Activate. Okay. And then maybe you know this word, but maybe you don't use it very often. Okay. And how can we forget this one? Idiom. So this is an idiom. Okay. So on the tip of your tongue. Okay. That's one that I found there too. On the tip of your tongue, meaning that you have something that you want to say, you know, that word that you can almost say it, but you can't say it because you don't remember the word, but you're almost there on the tip of your tongue. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go now. And if you have any questions, all right, you can pop them in the comments. You can send me a DM or you can send me also some questions to fabi@fabyenglish.com. Okay. If you have a request, something that you'd like me to talk about, or a question for a live, just let me know. All right, guys. Okie dokie. So I'm going to head out, but let me know if you have any questions. All right. Okay. I'll see you. Bye.